Hi there. Today we will be discussing starting. Starting is something that most people just struggle with. They have this idea in their head, whether it's a book, a business, or a dream, yet the majority of humans stay stuck in that potential. They don't take action, they plan, they spend years trying to get their goals perfected before they even take a step. Yet there's a select few who begin and make progress and actually eventually get there. So, what sets people apart? There's a few things. There's different paths that they take, there's different mindsets they have, but ultimately, the most important thing is to get started. When you get started and you progress, you achieve your goal. It's pretty simple. You start, you continue, and you get there. When you don't start, you make no progress, you don't achieve your goal. When you have a late start, some inconsistent progress, you still don't achieve the goal. When you start late, you make some progress, you don't achieve the goal still. Because if you're only doing it somewhat, but you're not staying consistent, you don't get there. There's one where you can just start late, stay consistent with progress, and get to your goal. Break the block. Just do. Produce, create, and then label the content, label the experience, label the goal. Sometimes you just need to keep it simple. When you decide that it's more important to get started on something, like writing something down or recording a video, you give yourself permission to actually succeed rather than keeping yourself in this state where you just think about it, you just talk about it with people. And what sets aside winners from losers isn't that they just did it right the first time. It's that they failed. It's that they made mistakes. It's that they experienced things. But they couldn't do that if they never began in the first place. So it's similar to playing the scratch tickets or lottery or pulling Pokemon packs or doing whatever that you'd like to do in life, like flirting with someone or asking for their number, going on dates, going to the gym, doing things that bring you satisfaction. You're doing those things. If you talk about doing it, like going to the gym, you didn't go to the gym. If you say that you think that person's cute, that's great, but like that manifestation can't really happen until you make action happen. So it might not show up right away. You might have those inconsistencies. Things might not be a clear straight line to your goal, and you might not achieve your goal. There's chances that you could pass away, things change, you move locations, switch jobs and careers, and your relationship falls apart. Yet, the only guarantee in life when you don't make action happen is that you will fail. But the only guarantee in life when you do make action happen is that even if you fail, you'll get back up and keep trying, and you'll at least make some progress. So you get to decide which guarantee you go for, because even if you make progress and you started, you can tell people that you started. Starting is so important because then when you tell people something like, I'm a blogger, I'm a YouTube content creator, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a coach, or whatever you do. You know, it could be a photographer, it can be a medical student, or an aspiring practitioner. It can be investment, like you invest $1 and now you're like, I'm an investor. It opens up this idea that isn't no longer an idea. It's more so you actually own the identity because you're a beginner, you're a winner, you're a creator. And that attitude and mindset shifts things because you're already gaining momentum. You're making progress happen and you're able to measure your growth. How you're able to measure your growth is that you get data. Because when you take drafts of something or you take shots and you miss them, you can reflect on the experience, and then you can find how to edit it and make it more efficient. So you can just streamline your way through the process to get to the goal. And once you get to the goal, you can create new goals and use the past experiences to get there quicker or easier. If you don't start, you haven't made that progress, and you can't tell people that you're doing it. So they're not going to take you seriously. If you just talk about it, people eventually get tired of listening to it because they're like, well, when are you going to do it? And if you start, but you start inconsistently or you start late, you're not going to get there as quickly as other people. You might actually still get there, but now you're delayed. And it's not about comparing to other people. Let's say it's not as quick as you would have gotten there had you started. However, there is still a comparison, and I think it's important because people say don't compare yourself to others. I think, yeah, and also you should compare yourself to others in a healthy way. To say, if I'm 30 years old, there's other people 30 my age, they have different life circumstances and privileges. Yet, if they don't have as much privilege and they started and they've achieved more than me, that kind of says something. It's important to give ourselves grace and cut some slack, yet it's also important to have accountability and push ourselves to achieve more. When we achieve more, we actually feel better about our lives and like what we did actually matters. Because when we sit there and we just tell ourselves we're going to do something, but we never do it, then we just don't take ourselves seriously enough, and other people don't take us seriously, and we don't feel good about ourselves. Not feeling good about oneself is pretty detrimental because you can have all the money and stuff in the world, but if you don't feel like you've actually made it or gotten anywhere or even started, then it affects your self-esteem and your self-concept. When you have self-confidence because you actually began the things that you've been writing down or endeavors that you've been passionate and inspired to embark upon, you build a certain identity around it. You can acclaim that you have it, that you've done it. And once you've done it, more starts to come through the law of attraction. You start to receive new guidance, new resources, new opportunities, because you're in that sphere of influence. You start going to events, you network, you connect to people online, they see that, you do that. And the funniest part about starting is it creates this identity that people don't really question as much as they do when you haven't started. When you've began and you've applied for roles or you've done some kind of page, people are like, wow, you're an interviewee, you're an entrepreneur, you're this, you're that, you're a marketer, and one of it is like when you, let's say, just say you're a digital marketer, people will believe that. So a lot of people in society are walking around and there's no proof that you have of their certificate, their degree, their work experience, their resume. You just take their word at face value. There's so many people who just make up fantasies like that they're rich or they have a lot of money, and they put on shows, they dress a certain way, and people believe them. Now, I'm not saying to create a facade or be fraudulent or just put on an illusion and fake your way through life. It's just part of it sometimes is pretending to be what you want to be on some level, or owning that identity before you're fully there. Because you kind of have to fake it till you make it. Like, you can be authentic, yet you can still own the fact that you are a creator. So when people ask you what do you do for a living, you can say things like, oh, well, I'm living my best life. And they're like, well, what does that look like? And I am creating content online, or I'm blogging, or I'm marketing, or I'm doing videos. And they're like, wow, that's so cool, Or you can say, I'm an investor. I am a designer, right? And that can be true. Like, let's say you're into fashion, you start doing a few fashion designs with AI, or you just draw up a few sketches. Now you're a designer because you started, you made a few designs. That doesn't mean you're a licensed or certified or professional, experienced, tenured designer, yet you're a designer and you're on your way to hit your goals. Whether it's financial, whether it's emotional, whether it's physical, manifestational, relational, whatever it might be, you're on your way. And people take that seriously because they see that you've at least taken that first step. If you haven't taken that first step, nobody can take that first step for you. Now, it's important to maintain that consistency and momentum and steadiness, because if you just take that first step and you start claiming that you're a designer, but you don't actually continue taking steps to get to your goal and you never achieve your goals, of course people are going to notice and they're going to be like, something's up. This person's not who they say they are. Yet that's not the point. It's not about trying to figure out all the steps and make perfect goals where you're like, I'm going to achieve $50,000 in sales this year, or $100,000, or I'm going to sell 1,000 pieces of clothing, or I'm going to, take over the city and all of the retail stores. Those goals are helpful, yet sometimes they can keep you stuck from starting, or from starting the next step or the next goal, because you're like, I have to think, I have to understand it first before I move. So it's about doing, like, break that block and just do something. Like, if you've already started, continue, but like, don't always try to analyze how you're going to do it, why you're going to do it, what you're going to do. Just keep going, because the most limiting thing that we do to ourselves is analysis paralysis. We get stuck in this belief that we have to have it all figured out. It's heavy, it's hard. Like, when you think about something to blog for the day, you don't even turn on your computer, so you don't end up doing it. But when you just turn on your computer and you start typing, eventually something comes through, and then you can label that as like some topic, let's say like how to work more efficiently. Or let's say you want to go work out, but you're like, the gym's far away. Or what sets should I do today? What target muscles am I focused on? And by the time you think about it and get to it, you're not as motivated, it's hard to do it, you're just kind of feeling lethargic. Yet instead, you just get your ass up and you start moving. You start, moving your legs, flailing your arms around, stretching, cracking your neck, your back, doing things that feel good, using your workout equipment. And then eventually you actually feel like going to the gym too. So now you experience more progress than you would have if you just waited. So waiting is really not the name of the game. Like, the name of the game is to start. It's to do. It's to be. It's to take drastic measures in your hands and to be like, I am just going to take steps. I don't even need to know. I'm just going to start shooting arrows blindly in the dark. Now, that doesn't mean to be uncertain, like, in how you make progress. It doesn't mean to just not have any aim. It doesn't mean to just do things without thinking about it or without planning and making goals. It's just about being intentional with the fact that you want to do something. So you just do it. You're like, I'm going to be conscientious about what I'm doing, but I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to sit there and try to figure it all out before I go. I'm not going to make a huge game plan like for the day. I'm just going to go ahead and make things happen. So those who make things happen, they eventually have years of experience. They have things on their resume. They have sales. They have networks, and they accumulate progress. So they get closer to their goal. They might not achieve their goal. Someone who started later might achieve their goal. Someone who didn't start won't achieve that goal, but someone who started later and was inconsistent may also not achieve that goal. So it's really about that consistency, and getting started means that you get there quicker. Now, it might take you just as long as somebody else who started late. It might take you just as long as someone who had no growth for a very long time and then just got lucky. But that's not the point. The point is the journey. The point is doing things. The point is going along the way and making progress, because starting feels good and it gives you identity and it makes you actually have a clear line of sight toward your goal. When you don't start, you don't have as much clarity about your goal. You're just hypothesizing what that goal looks like. And that goal can shift really quickly as soon as you get going. So once you get going, you can pay attention to what's in the scenery, who's nearby, where the trajectory is headed, and you can pivot. But you can't really pivot until you've began, because you're not on the actuality of it. You're just in the fantasy and hypothetical. So get started today, whatever it is. You don't even need to write it down. You can, but just take a direction and take a step. Just go for it. See what happens. You don't have to have anything figured out when you go approach someone to say hi. You can just say hi. You don't need to know exactly what you're going to study in school. Just take a class that you're feeling interested in and see where it takes you. Or maybe take a quarter semester that you just take a bunch of random classes to see what tastes right for you. Go out there and try some new food. Invest in some random investment. See how it turns out. Not financial advice. And just put yourself out there. Like, go write a post. Go make a video. Go access something that you haven't. Go to a new path. Go run a new journey. Move your body. Say some affirmations, write down some journals, get the energy going and moving and flowing, get the juices running, and see where it takes you. Just be open to the world once you start, and own your identity. Tell people who you are, tell people who you want to become, pitch to people, put yourself into the rooms where you're going to succeed, and start creating ideas for products or services that you think are cool. Write down your passions. Talk to AI, see how you can create those into monetizable businesses and brands, and put yourself in the shoes of somebody who would be the person that you want to be. Like, go ask someone that you meet who you want to be like if you can spend a day with them, or go buy some clothes that help you feel like the person that you want to be. Do things that get you closer to your goals, and stay around people who are like that, and start each day. Start something new, do something new, do something new every day. Don't just sit there waiting for some day that never comes. Like, actually make a wild card decision. Like, pull a joker card, do an Uno reverse on people, like leave situations randomly that you don't feel like being in anymore. And start on ending things as well. Like, if you were planning to end something, like, at least start to end it. You don't have to end it right away. You don't have to cut people out of your life like quickly. You can, or you don't have to make huge career and living situation and logistical transportation and relational changes overnight, or health changes or appearance changes. You can. It's just at least get started on ending it, so that can look like at least like setting the intention within yourself of being like, I would like to end this thing. I'm going to release it. If it's not perfect or how it turns out, I don't really care. I just want it out of my life. So I'm going to send this message, or I'm at least going to notify people or put in a notice. I'm going to give them awareness of what's happening. That way they're not out of the loop, and that way you can at least bring that energy out there, and the universe can start meeting you with it. So you can start on any things, you can start on starting things, you can start on following through on things. The most important thing is you start. When you click a game to start, that's how you play. You click start. You gotta click start on your controller of life so you can actually play. You gotta put the batteries in, you gotta energize yourself, you gotta charge your gear. You gotta replenish yourself and get yourself ready to get started too. You can't just say I'm starting and then you do it and then you don't do it. Prepare yourself for success by starting to get in the right rhythms, the right patterns, the right mentalities, the right communication, the right behavior, and being around the right people and putting yourself in the right environments for you to start on your new path. The more that you prepare for that to get started, the better. But also sometimes you just have to say, screw it, and just start from where you're at and just start taking action in different directions. Start doing things you can do and just see where it takes you, because it's definitely going to take you there, and it might take you somewhere better than you ever imagined. All you got to do is get started. Sounds easier and simpler than it might be. It there's no need to complicate it and put this pressure on yourself that it has to look a certain way. Just do what feels right. See where it'll bring you, and maybe you'll change your mind on the goal you previously had. Maybe you'll get there sooner than you thought, and maybe it won't even matter anymore because you just enjoy the fact that you got started.